Kaido is an AI platform where they aggregate a lot of Twitter data. They link up followers and see who's like termed as a smart follower, and then you can see like, so it kind of gives a loose aggregation of like, what is CT, what is crypto Twitter, right? Who are the people that have created a strong social network between each other, and who is like meaningfully commenting on each other's stuff? Where is the conversation happening? What is the conversation about? It gives you all these metrics. Recently, they came out with a dashboard called Yaps, right? You guys may have signed up for that. If you haven't, it's just each Yap is their term for basically a meaningful back and forth between two people within like the CT circle that has been drawn. So like if I post something on L2 scaling and someone comes in my comments and says XYZ because I have a lot of smart followers and he maybe does or does not, I respond to them and give also something like meaningful back to what their comment was. Now they've earned a Yap, and I have earned maybe a Yap or two because I started a conversation. They meaningfully responded. It's about something that's crypto centric, right? Like I had my travel post blow up, right? I got like 600,000 views or something like that. I got like no Yaps on that, zero, because it wasn't a crypto specific topic. It wasn't relevant to L2s. It wasn't relevant to scaling. It wasn't relevant to blobs, like any of that shit, right? So that's kind of how it works. No one knows the exact algorithm, but that's kind of how it works. Now, what they've done on Base, there's a thing called Ethereum Attestation Service, EAS. What this thing is basically just a service that allows you to go on chain and attest to something, right? So like I can say, like I actually did this for Mika. You guys might know her. She's in crypto Twitter. I did it for her birthday a long time ago, where it was her birthday, and I tested on chain. You just go on chain. I wrote like they have different schemas for different things, and I could say like it's her birthday. One of them was that, and I said it's Mika's birthday. Happy birthday! You're the best person in the world. Something like that, and I just sent it to her. It's like, so like, I didn't give you a gift, but I tested that. Like I vouch for you as a human. This is your birthday. It's like this is my attestation. They've used that protocol because you can use it in various different ways to say like to link social profiles to the amount of yaps that they have, right? So Kaido is attesting that I, Bread Guy, have 2,000 yaps at this time, right? So now that data is on chain, the source of truth is Kaido. Kaido is an authority in this space because they're the ones issuing yaps. They are now putting it on chain. So now because it's on chain, I can build something like a smart contract that is composable with the amount of yaps that I have, right? Like I can say, I build an app. You can mint this NFT if you have 1,000 yaps. Verify it on chain because the source of truth is now Kaido. So you had mentioned like this is kind of the hope of what Friendtech was. That's like this is very similar. This is a SocialFi thing. It is like it's an on-chain equivalent to an off-chain social metric, right? So Friendtech, it was your keys, the amount of keys, your value, whatever. It was like kind of an off-chain pulled on-chain valuation that the market decided on. This is a similar thing, and it allows for, because it's open, attestation services, anyone can compose with it. If you're building on Base, you can now wrap utility around on-chain things, right? Because remember, smart contracts only have awareness of other stuff that's on-chain, right? Like unless you have like an Oracle pulling it on-chain, which is what Kaido could have done, you need this stuff on-chain. This is just making that one step easier.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So it's not that your points are on-chain, or you have an NFT that represents the number of points you have. This is an attestation by Kaito that is proving that this is it's kind of a measure.
It's kind of like an oracle. It's a way to do an oracle, right? So like with Chainlink, right? Chainlink is the authority. Chainlink has an oracle that pulls things on that's an off-chain service that pulls things on chain for you that says Ethereum's price is $3,000, right? Because Chainlink is the source and they're trusted. You can build a smart contract that sees on chain that ETH is worth $3,000. It went down to 2,800. I need to liquidate some people. So my smart contract, because it's on chain, can do the liquidation, right? It's that, but for yaps.
Got it. Very, very interesting. And then, so what do you think? So people can understand this, like you've got attestations, you've got yaps being, put onto chain. What is the way? Why are they doing that? Like, what is the hope for Kaito that other people will be able to go to? Like, how would someone go and build on top of this? What would be the objective? Because I know that you were someone who was quite critical of Friendtech, and I've spoken to other people who are critical of Friendtech as well. Was that all these people who wanted to build more on top and felt like, look, this is too close, I can't do this. This is an invitation to people to do something with it. What could you expect?
Yeah. It's not like a prescription. It's just an open invitation, right? So it's like,
Yes,
hey,
exactly.
you guys would have had to hit our API, right? You would have to query our database and then we'd have to serve that up to you. It's kind of like it's bottlenecked. It's not awesome, whatever. It's like this way, and that doesn't achieve all the same features. This way, we're just putting it available to everyone. It's on chain, and because now Ethereum or Base specifically handles that load, like you don't have to come to us anymore. We're no longer gatekeeping it. We'll continue to update this,
Mm.
build whatever the fuck you want, right? And again, you could have gated communities. Like literally, this is what friend tech kind of was, right? You own the thing, you have the thing, you can now access this chat. I can now go build a chat client. Like, again, I would endorse this because like clearly that didn't work out well, but like I could build a chat client and say, if you log in with your social profile, right? You do the privy login, which gives you your social, links it to an address. You can, and you have over 500 yaps. You now get to get in a special group chat with everyone else that has 500 chat or 500 yaps. And like now it's a super secret smart person
Mm.
conversation that you didn't have to build out. People can just come and do, right? And same thing with like, yeah, okay, just so that's an example. And then like obviously you can extend it to other on-chain stuff again, issuing NFTs, ERC20s, like, you get a little weird with it, but it's unbounded.
Interesting. Really, really interesting. I do think this. I think I was speaking to Cap earlier in the comments of one of his tweets, and it's funny how like I don't know, maybe this SocialFi stuff was going on before me, um, but NFT Inspect, for example, was maybe iteration one of the Web3 version of it, although I think that was very Web2 ultimately. But like this desire and urgency that we have to try to capture social interaction, social value, almost reputation as well. I know there's other protocols that are maybe focusing more on the reputation layer. Or that's something I think this is all wrapped up in each other, um, and the standards getting so much higher, which is actually really really cool to see.
One additional thing to expand on what you're talking about, I think the natural desire to do that is because one, what's blockchain good for? It's good for communicating value between each other, exchanging value between each other, whether it's assets, NFTs, whatever. Everyone, I believe, very strongly recognizes there's huge amount of social value that is being emitted throughout the space, and we're trying to quantify that. And whenever you quantify that, you probably want to be able to monetize that in some way. So you want to put that on chain, because if you put it on chain now, it's you're able to exchange that as value, right? A little more fluidly, right? Because like we do all of this stuff in these social settings that is really, again, really valuable, but like it's kind of hard to monetize, right? Like you're doing all this shit, like people recognize it, they see it. It's kind of like spam. Like you see something, like what's the difference between spam and just junk mail, right? You see something, you're like, I know that's spam, but I don't know how to define spam. Like that's the thing that's spam, but like versus everything else, it's kind of like that. We see it, we can't articulate it perfectly, and people are trying to articulate it through programs, Yaps, friend tech, SocialFi, like all this shit, and then you put it on chain so you can communicate that value.